Okay, as you can see, technology is not foolproof. So while we're finding Nikki in this virtual environment, I'm going to turn it over, if it's okay, to Senator Jarrett Keoho Kalole to say a few words. Senator?
Okay, aloha. Thank you, Sherry. Good morning. Aloha, everyone. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for inviting me this morning, for all the businesses, the employers, the folks doing hiring, and all of you folks out there who are here to apply for a new job or pursue a new career. Good morning. It's great to be with you. Sherry, like you mentioned, technical glitches happen. I personally, I'm 37 years old, so I'm a millennial, but I'm really not a millennial. I'm older, and I don't know really anything about technology. So naturally, in the Senate, I serve as the chair of the Committee on Technology, and so today's glitch, is a natural thing that we've all had to come to adjust to in this new COVID world. And no matter how much work and effort you put into something, it never comes out perfect. And it kind of reminds me of our state response to the pandemic. There's the famous saying, no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy. So I do want to say aloha and allow everybody behind the scenes who are trying to make this all work to just breathe a sigh of relief. Mistakes are going to happen and we just have to adjust, which is really the point that I wanted to bring up in opening remarks with you folks all here today. Just to start off with, I guess we can start with the bad news. I wanted to talk about the pandemic because I serve as a member of the Senate Special Committee on COVID-19. Some of you folks might have seen in the news, we showed up at the Department of Health last week to verify their operational capability to address, the situation we're in. And here's the deal on the situation we're in. We started in the state of Hawaii very well. Our response, in my opinion, was great. For the first 5 months of the pandemic, we had the lowest mortality rate and the best metrics around the disease, hands down. And the reality is that our responses slipped recently. People relaxed in the public, and the government response obviously hasn't been optimal. So, the battle plan was working, and then now we need to change it and we need to adjust, to meet the challenge, which is no different than the situation that all of the business owners that are on watching have had to deal with since, mid-March when this all really started to happen in Hawaii. And, it's going to change. In all likelihood, this is going to be the reality for the foreseeable future. By all indications, what we're dealing with we're going to be dealing with for years. Even if there is a vaccine, you've heard over and over again, it's not going to be a panacea. It will take us a long time to even manufacture. If we find the perfect solution medically to address the disease, it's going to take us time to mobilize that. And we just don't know what that reality is going to look like. So, people have been saying, let's adjust to the new normal. To me, someone said the other day, and I liked it, that actually what I think we need to be adjusting to or coming to become comfortable with is the new abnormal, because this is just the reality of the situation we have going forward. Things change really dynamically because this is a very uncertain time. So, that's sort of the bad news. We're going to be dealing with it for a while. Government services are likely to be severely resource constrained, and painful setbacks are inevitable to adjust to this reality on the state side. So in a lot of ways, the initiative that you folks took to take part in this, and that the chamber has taken to just bring the community together to try and find solutions on their own, is going to have to be, a piece to this response. So I'm appreciative of the opportunity to be involved with this. And I'm really eager to receive feedback from you folks, because if there are ways that at the state government level that we really can make a meaningful difference, particularly things that can change quickly and immediately to make a difference to folks, that's part of the discussion that we're trying to be a part of on the special committee on COVID-19, but also just in our legislative work in general. So, that's the state side, the state side, and then my sort of view of how things are going. I was asked to come on and talk about our state efforts at innovation and workforce development. I've been involved with that in economic development for the last 5 years. And, to be honest, it's a bit of a struggle. My view on innovation is that it's more of a mindset as opposed to a specific sector-based economic development initiative, which has been a bit of a struggle to get people to understand, not only at the legislative level. There's this focus on tourism, our pillars of the economy: tourism, military, construction. And so when you bring innovation into the mix, it's sort of nebulous, and it's difficult to articulate. So the main thing I wanted to bring up when it comes to innovation is that the new economy is going to look different as we go through this situation. We're in a recession now, so change is going to happen. Businesses are going to have to adjust. Employees are going to have to adjust. And I just think it's really important, and this is what we're pushing on the state side, to push resiliency and to adapt to the changes that have been happening. 98% of the financial sector during the big part of the shutdown back in April and May went virtual. We all know how to do this type of telework, and that wasn't something that was on the table at all, even 5 months ago. We're going to have to adapt to the new nature of the world, and I appreciate the effort that everybody online is putting forth in that. And so we're here to help. Like I said, I want to be a part of the solution. I really encourage you folks to reach out to us. I thank you for taking the initiative, and I wish you the best of luck. Employers, employees, your success is critical to the state, and so we're here to support and work with you. Aloha.
Thank you so much, Senator, and for all the good work that you are doing in representing the people of Hawaii. It's, as you mentioned, it's the new abnormal, and we definitely have to be adaptable and flexible, as well as understand that wearing our masks are tied to jobs and our economy. So thank you. And at this time, I'm going to switch back to Nikki Odes of Staffing Solutions and Kahumalama Nurses. Nikki, glad you're back.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I appreciate it, and I apologize for that technical difficulty. I'm not sure what happened. Aloha, job seekers and fellow employers. Staffing Solutions of Hawaii and Kahumalama Nurses, we're really proud to be presenting sponsors for Hawaii is Hiring, the virtual job fair. I know a lot of you, many of you anticipated to virtually meet with and listen to our president and CEO, Lisa Crocker. I'll be stepping in for her for the entire event as she tends to a family emergency. My name is Nikki Oles. I'm the Director of Government Operations, and I'm honored to be with all of you. Lisa does send her well wishes and extreme gratitude to everybody. A huge mahalo to Sherry, Tricia, and all the members of Chamber of Commerce Hawaii and Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii Young Professionals for masterminding a great event and continuously allowing us the privilege of supporting programs that benefit our professional community. We've had a long-standing relationship with the Chamber for many years, and we hope for many more to come. Part of our mission at Staffing Solutions of Hawaii and Kahumalama Nurses is to provide exceptional customer service, not just for our clients, but for job seekers like yourselves. Now more than ever, I mean, we must shift gears, especially in this new abnormal, like Senator was saying, that we're living in. Simply, we just have to reinvent ourselves, embrace new opportunities that will challenge ourselves, yet force us to grow. We are in this together, and we're stronger for it. Don't forget to head to the stage at 11 a.m. for our special presentation on how to get hired during COVID-19 with my colleague, Rob Machado, and me. On behalf of Staffing Solutions of Hawaii and Kahumalama Nurses, a big mahalo to the wonderful employers and job seekers who are here today. We wish you all the success. Please stay safe, and we will chat soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for your encouraging words and for your support as well. This wouldn't have been possible, obviously, without Staffing Solutions and Kahumalama. And please give our regards to Lisa. All right, the next speaker it gives me great pleasure to introduce, Representative Sean Quinlan. And he's been also a strong supporter of our workforce development and bringing people back to job efforts. So, Representative, it's all yours.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you, Sherry. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Senator Keokalole, for your sobering assessment of kind of where we're at. For those of you who don't know, Senator Keokalole used to be Representative Keokalole, and we served together, and we miss him dearly, especially on the basketball court. When I look at the different entities that are participating in this job fair, you look at the House, the Senate, the Chamber of Commerce, Indeed. To me, this collaboration really shows that government and the private sector can work together in a way that, number one, creates jobs here in Hawaii, and number two, doesn't cost taxpayers a lot of money. To that end, it is my pleasure today to introduce our keynote speaker and special guest. His name is Taylor Meadows. Taylor has over 10 years of experience in the tech industry. He has worked for both Apple and LinkedIn and now works as an evangelist for Indeed. And so my first thought when I first got the email about introducing Taylor was, what is an evangelist? So Taylor tells me that he's essentially like a brand ambassador. He's here to build awareness about Indeed and their products. So a man of many words, all the way from the home of the Bears, Chicago, Illinois, please join me in welcoming Taylor Meadows.
Hi, everyone. It is so lovely to be with you today, even virtually, even though I wish I could be there on site with you, because as you would imagine, even though it's beautiful in Chicago right now, it'll be probably snowing in a couple of months. So, maybe next time we'll have the opportunity to meet in person. Sean, thank you for the introduction. And, as he said, I do work for Indeed. I've been at Indeed for about 4 years now. And really my team specializes in helping employers become better candidates for you as job seekers when you are, out in the world and looking for your next opportunity. So we put together some content for you today. I'm going to kind of walk you through our best practices around what it means to really be job hunting right now, especially during a pandemic, and then take any questions that you have. So I'm going to begin sharing my screen Trisha, if you could just confirm with me that you're able to see my screen, that would be fantastic. And that way we can get started. Cool?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, awesome. First and foremost, what I really just wanted to say is more than anything, we are here to help right now. So I completely recognize, the weight of what's going on right now. I can't tell you how many employers I also talk to that are feeling the weight of everything going on. I know that, every state individually has its own challenges with the pandemic. Even here in Illinois, we're facing our own as well. We just experienced some phasing rollback ourselves, right? So, people out and congregating and things like that. And it's been really tough. What I do want you to know, though, is that we have so many resources available for you during this time. And I'm going to make sure that we point those out. The first plug that I'm going to make for you is if you have your internet up in front of you right now, open up a new tab, go to Indeed.com. At the very top of the page, you're going to see a link for all things COVID-19 resources. It's an amazing place for you to go and educate yourself even further on what it means to be a job seeker right now, how to polish up your resume, video interviewing tips and everything like that, in addition to everything that we are going to cover today. We want to make you feel comfortable. So as I said, I've already introduced myself. My team entity is called Employer Insights. My technical title is, in fact, an evangelist, which sounds super weird outside of the tech industry and outside of religion. I can assure you that we are not religiously affiliated. So really, to Sean's point, this is really a matter of us really kind of bringing to market for you what it is that we have to offer in terms of a job search engine right now. So I think that that's really a great place for us to start. If you haven't used Indeed before, oftentimes Indeed, right, we get compared to LinkedIn, we get compared to Career Builder and things like that. But what I want you to know is that LinkedIn, for example, right, is a search engine, is a social networking site, not a search engine like we are, right? So it's great to be using both simultaneously. What's cool about Indeed is that multiple times a day, or really around 9-10 times a day, we are going out into the internet and we are collecting new jobs that have been posted on corporate career sites, and we're bringing them into one place so that you have an easier time navigating job search. So I think that that's really important to know. Way back in the day, right, you had your Monsters and your Career Builders, and employers had to pay to go there and post specific jobs, not all their jobs. So know that on Indeed, you can trust that there are new and fresh jobs coming in every single day, almost every other hour. So I think that that's a great place to kind of start. What I would love to do for you today is walk you through really what the pandemic's impact on work has been, how you can still navigate that, and how you can still continue to find jobs, because I want you to rest assured to know that even though the landscape has changed, they are still available. I'm going to offer you some best practices in remote interviewing and virtual interviewing and really what that means, and some little things that you can do to make the experience a little bit better for yourself. And then tips from working from home once you land that remote gig, really what can you do to be most successful? And then I'm going to make myself available for Q&A for you. And then I'm going to also be sure to hop into the networking room after this to meet some of you face-to-face as well. So here's what I want you to know, right? It is a health crisis and it is an economic crisis happening at the exact same time. We're kind of dealing with, right, a government right now that is caught between wanting to reopen an economy and, right, address the health concern, in the way that it's standing right now. And so it's a lot to bear and it's a lot to emotionally process. So I just want to validate that for everyone. And I especially know that job search is a very personal experience. It takes a long time and it can be very frustrating. So I want you to know that, at least from an Indeed perspective, we are working on a variety of different ways to make that easier for you. And I'm going to make sure that I talk about some of those today so that you can be not just more apt to find the job that you want right now on our platform, but that you can be found by recruiters. Okay, so what's really cool about our organization, I personally feel, is that we actually have an economist team on staff. And they really are there to just watch what's going on in the economy right now, understand trends, and make more sense of those. What we do know is that there are some sectors that are decreasing and or maybe even shutting down. Other sectors are hiring more. We found it very surprising that you would think in healthcare, for example, that there would be more jobs available because we're in a health crisis. But in fact, we actually saw a reduction in the number of jobs available within healthcare organizations because a lot of healthcare orgs and hospitals, for example, make their money on elective surgeries. And those were taken off the table to make room for COVID-19 patients. And so there's just a lot of interesting kind of back-end things going on that really, make this economic path relatively uncertain. But the good news in that is that we know, based on data and trends that we are seeing, that they're changing every single week. So as more organizations are decreasing the number of roles they have available, there are a number of organizations that have more opportunities presenting themselves. We hear this from you, our job seekers, that these are your top concerns, right? Of course, financially, we're all wanting to make sure that we are taken care of in that way, which is why we're having this conversation today. But we also know that you need to balance that with things like caring for loved ones, safety and security in the workplace. I think that, something that I can share with you is as I work with employers specifically on, advertising, what special opportunities they have at hand during this time, one of the things that we are encouraging them to do is educate you as job seekers what they are doing to keep their employees safe in the workplace, what they're doing to, heighten, health security and things like that. So, pay attention to job postings, pay attention to company career sites, reviews on Indeed, everything like that, to see what it is that those employers are doing to take care of their people. You can see, right, that the rest of these, I think, are all arenas that we've definitely all had at least our toe dipped into based on the unique situation that that we're currently in right now. But here's the good news, right? There are steps that you can take, and there are things that you can do to position yourself as a job seeker. Not all jobs are gone. And there are just going to be some creative application applied here to discuss, what it is that you've done in the past and what it is that you want to do moving forward. So, like I said, health and safety are the absolute most important. We want to make sure that you're not putting yourself, in a risky situation. I'm going to shamelessly plug, please wear a mask everywhere that you go. It's going to be one of the best ways for the economy to reopen quicker. We definitely know that those employers right now that are not taking this to heart are the ones that are seeing really the greatest dip in candidate interest. What I want you to prioritize before anything is yourself. What I want you to do first and foremost is honestly take a breath. I want you to know that progress is being made in a variety of different ways. The entire economy across the United States, really across the world, right, they are adapting to this work from home remote strategy. Just like with anything, it takes a little while for some companies to get their footing, especially companies that aren't used to providing remote work experiences. When you have to take an entire company and put them online and try to navigate what connection to the workplace means, team collaboration, right? It takes a while. So progress is being made. I want you to know that and be reassured by that. I want you to invest in your mental health. I think that joining a webinar like this is really helpful for you. For those of you who have maybe not explored meditation in the past, I could recommend a bunch of different meditation apps. Calm is a great one. Anything that you can do to calm your mind, especially as you're preparing for interviews and for those really important conversations, that investment is going to be really important. And then, of course, stay healthy, distance when you can, but again, recognize that the jobs are available and more of them are going to be coming available as more companies shift to this, online workforce. Okay. So here's what we know. We know that COVID-19 is impacting employees and job seekers really in 3 unique ways. We're experiencing some temporary business closures, shifting in hiring practices, and mandated remote work. This is going to, of course, evolve right as the pandemic evolves, as more cases are reported and things like that. But there are things that are in the works right now that are going to really kind of assist this experience for you. So some preemptive questions that we have for you that are going to help kind of navigate the rest of our conversation, right, is, how can you find work if you're suddenly unemployed? Is anyone even hiring? Well, there are a couple of things that I want you to do. First of all, right, prioritize those essential services. It's especially right now, the more hands-on deck that we can have, the better. So, if that is right, maybe looking at a grocery store opportunity, a pharmacy opportunity, as you can see here, all of like the essential and frontline type of jobs. These are the organizations or the industries that really need the most help right now. What I want you to keep in mind is that, right, this type of work is not necessarily meant to last forever. If it's an opportunity for you to be able to pay the bills, or even just an opportunity to get out of the house, I think that this is going to be a really great place to start. The good news, though, is that like retailers, for example, as retailers are shifting to online purchasing, with that comes the need for online customer service. So I know of a couple of retailers right now. Apple, for example, has initiated texting with their consumers so that they can get real-time help. So those are going to be the new types of opportunities that are available that maybe you didn't consider before. So don't count out the traditional retail type of environment, especially in cities where there's high travel and tourism, and a lot of retailers do have a presence there. They really could potentially use your support with a customer service type of a position. Now, this kind of leads into remote work in general. One thing that I wanted to let you know is that in our response to this, historically on Indeed, when you go to Indeed.com and you type in the name of a keyword or a job title that you're interested in, typically before you would have had to type in the name of a city. The good news is that we've kind of adapted to that, and one of the ways that we've evolved our platform is by the ability to just search for remote jobs. So you'll notice that when you type in the name of a keyword or a job title, one of the filters that populates on Indeed is remote work. So if you're wanting to focus in on Honolulu and you want to see what remote jobs are available, you can now do that very easily on the site. That's going to be one of the ways that you can most quickly identify remote work. You can see here that just searching for remote work has skyrocketed on our site. This is actually, as you can see, kind of a slide that came from just the initial start of the pandemic. But on average, we're seeing an increase of around 400% in the number of searches for remote work and work from home opportunities. So, just know that they are continuously showing up on our site, and we are adapting to that as quickly as possible so that we can get them in your hands even faster. What I would encourage you to do is write out a list of your skill sets. This is a great exercise that I always recommend, even to my friends and to my family. What I think would be best for you to do is write out a list of your skill sets, but write a line down the middle of the paper. And on the left-hand side, I want you to write out your skill sets that you just inherently have, right? Like, are you good at Communication. Are you good at talking? Are you good at listening? Are you good at math? Whatever that might be. Like, what are you inherently just naturally good at? I want you to fill that out on the left side. And on the right side, I want you to fill out all the skill sets that you've learned over time. So maybe it is learning Google's productivity suite, Microsoft Office. If it's an applicant tracking system, whatever that might be that you've learned in previous jobs, or maybe it's a point of sale system in a restaurant. It doesn't matter what it is. Identify those as well, because when you go into an interview for a different type of a position, oftentimes you're going to be able to rely on those skill sets and kind of identify them both individually to be able to let that new employer know how you might be able to apply them to your new job now. So that's really important. I think that if you identify as a compassionate person, compassion isn't really something that you can teach somebody. So if it is a position in healthcare or a role that requires that, you're going to be able to then more quickly be able to speak to that once it becomes available. As I said before, in addition to that, the actual filter inside of the search results, if you wanted to, what you could do now is you could just type in the word remote on Indeed and see all remote jobs that are available across the entire website. Or you can type in, write the name of the position itself, and then remote. You can do either one. I would actually recommend that you do both so that you can really capture all jobs on the site, regardless of how they are actually identified. Something that I think could be really helpful for you is to set up job alerts. So one thing that we've made easier for you is once you've gone through the process of identifying jobs that sound interesting to you, or you've come across a list of jobs that you want to apply for, you can actually set up an alert for those so that anytime that a new job populates on our site that meets that search criteria, or the feed is updated, you will get an email as the job seeker to let you know that. Now, of course, you have to create an Indeed account first. You can do that for free. One of the most beautiful things I think about our website is that you can sign up at no cost. All of the resources that we have available are also free for you. So make sure that you do that, because that's going to also be very important. Now, the other side of the coin that I want to make sure that you are very, very versed in, if you've taken anything away from this call, it's going to be something here that's really important, is we want you to update your resume on Indeed as well. Now, when you go to our website and you create your profile, you're going to be asked to fill out some basic information, maybe take some skills assessments so we can better position jobs to you in an automated way. We're also going to ask you to update your resume or upload your resume. What I would recommend that you do is it sounds like you got some great resources today at your disposal to really tighten up your resume and create one that really captures what it is that you've done in the past and what you're looking to do in the future. But what I want you to do is make sure that you cover all of your experience both in and outside of the workplace. So if you volunteered at an organization, if you've been on the board of something, or maybe you've participated in some sort of a community event, anything like that is fair game for a resume. What I would encourage you to do is try to be your most authentic self in your resume. The greatest thing you can do for a recruiter is give them insight as to who you are as a person. So that can be through capturing relevant keywords and then leaning into those soft and hard skills, which is going to be very helpful for you. On the resume piece, something else that you can do, and this is going to be a prompt that comes up as you're creating your profile, but we are going to ask you, are you ready to work now? And if the answer is yes, if you have an urgent need to be hired right now, what we're going to do is we're going to automatically tag your profile with what we see as a hashtag ready to work. The reason why this is really important to select if you are really urgently looking for a position is because I don't know if you know this, but employers pay us back-end access to mine our resume database. So a recruiter can come to us and say, hey, Indeed, I want to pay you X amount of money a month to be able to go into your platform and be able to type in keywords of candidates that I'm looking for. And then those resumes are going to populate. The ideal situation, of course, being that you as the candidate populate in those search results. What's great about this is that they can then identify you as the candidate and then send you an email to say, I have found your resume on Indeed and I want to talk to you because you have these 3 skill sets that are really great. One of the filters that we embedded in that platform is the ready to work filter. So if you've identified yourself as an urgently looking candidate, they're going to be able to see that and hopefully match you up with a job faster. If you have any questions on that, save them for the end and I will be sure to revisit them for you. Something else you can do is look for gig work. So what do we mean by gig work, right? So, your Ubers, your Lyfts of the world, any sort of delivery service. What we want you to do is we want you to, to network with, these organizations to see what they have available. A lot of them have, online marketplaces where you can go in and you can connect with, those contract recruiters. So when you are, driving a car for Uber or Lyft, for example, that's contract work. Well, what I want you to remember, right, is that these side hustles can be temporary. They're just meant to provide you, maybe some temporary relief. What I do know about companies like Uber and Lyft and of the like, Grubhub and things like that, is that you can cash out in a flexible way. So what I know is I've actually had friends of mine who have worked for these organizations and, driven and whatnot, and they've been able to either cash out daily, weekly, or monthly. So if you are looking for some quick cash, that might be a great way to go. And then I want you to also know too that a lot of these organizations are investing a lot of dollars to innovate right now. So they're creating more opportunities for people, especially now that delivery and things like that are ever more prevalent. That's what these apps are looking to accomplish, to provide more work for you. A couple of examples that you can see here. What we want you to do is we want you to use caution when you're communicating with employers online. Scam and phishing are a thing. So what I want you to do is just never provide your contact information to someone who asks for sensitive information like passwords or anything like that. You want to confirm with the individual, right, who you're talking to, that they have a work email address. And then if at any point on Indeed, right, you see a job that doesn't look valid, you can report that. I do want you all to know, though, that we have a team at Indeed called Search Quality, and they monitor the quality of the positions that are posted. So a lot of that should be done on our behalf for you, but there is an opportunity to report those jobs if you need to do that, okay? Now, what if the employer wants to conduct a remote interview, right? That's gonna happen a lot now because it's the new way of the world. And it's the way to connect. So what can you ensure to do that this goes well? So let's spend some time right now really just kind of covering the basics in terms of video interviewing and what I think could help you the best. You want to consider setting, appearance, and demeanor above all other things. So what do we mean by setting? You want to choose an ideal location. For appearance, you want to keep it professional. And for demeanor, you want to be respectful and engaged. But I want to break these down for you, okay? First and foremost, just like we experienced today, if you have a technical difficulty, that's okay, right? Imperfection is real, and things happen. What you just need to do is maybe, so for example, Trisha, who has been our wonderful organizer of this entire event, she and I exchanged numbers early on so that in the event that we did experience a technical difficulty, we could quickly just text each other and let us know. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Or just making sure that you have the recruiter's email address on hand so that you can notify them if that's the case. It's a good way to remedy the situation, and you can decide if you want to continue or if you want to reschedule. Now, on your video interview checklist, this is really great. So what I want you to do at any given time when you are video interviewing is make sure that you choose a quiet location. If that's in a bedroom, a closed environment where you're not going to be disrupted, that's the most important thing, not just for the benefit of the person interviewing you, but for yourself, because it's going to allow your mind to be a little bit more clear and a little bit more focused. Something that I would recommend that you do is clean up your space ahead of time, right? Like I'm in my home right now, and it's a very vulnerable place to be, right? When you're in front of hundreds of people. But at the same time, this is the way of the world, and we're all working from home right now. So clean up your space. Present yourself in a way that you would be proud of, and that's gonna really help you with your confidence and the level of contribution that you want to make during that interview. This is going to eliminate your distraction. Make sure that you test all of your technology ahead of time. Right, make sure that camera works. Make sure that microphone works. And at the end of the day, you just want to present yourself in a way that you feel most comfortable in. So what I would say is when we say dress appropriately, not every interview needs to necessarily be a suit and a tie, right? It could be, if the culture of the organization is much more relaxed, as I imagine it probably would be in Hawaii, then, you want to match that culture. So do some investigative research ahead of time to see what that culture is and then match it, right? I'm wearing my Indeed t-shirt for you today. We are very much a jeans and, t-shirt kind of a company, and that's just fine to be able to interview in, okay? I want to encourage you all to keep it up. I know that this is a trying time and that we're all being tested in new ways, but we are definitely here to help you out. if you do get offered a work from home position, so you've had a great interview, you get the offer, how do you stay productive when you're actually at home? I have to tell you that as someone who writes as a keynote speaker for a living, I was on the road every single week. I mean, I was having to go to Chicago O'Hare at least twice a week. One minute I'm in New York City, the next minute I'm in Dallas, Texas. I never got to go to Hawaii though, so we'll have to figure that out. But how do you stay productive when you are permanently right at home? What I want you to do is create, not just clean your workspace, but create a workspace. So I have a very specific chair at the end of my kitchen table that I sit at. I specifically face a window so that the light is better on me. You can also invest in a ring light. They are really only, $30-40 for even just a small one. But it's great when you can, even especially if you are in maybe a house with multiple people and you need to sneak off to like a private space to conduct an interview or whatnot, that light is going to really help you. It's going to make you feel a lot better about yourself, I promise, because I do a lot of these video communications. Follow a set schedule. So, wake up around the same time every day, during the week. Become a creature of habit. I'm someone who makes my bed every day, and that actually contributes to my overall sense of organization. I had a second grade teacher tell me once, organized space, organized mind, and I am 33 now, so that has stuck with me for several years. I'd actually recommend that you give that a try. I think that it would help you more than you know. Maybe cleaning up your living room, cleaning up your kitchen before you sit down to apply to jobs or have your interview. I think you'd be amazed at what that does for mental preparation. Get dressed every single day. It's so easy to get caught up in just wearing super comfy clothes. But even if it's just changing into like a different t-shirt, in addition to tidying up and things like that, get showered, get dressed, put some effort into your appearance. It's going to help you quite a bit. And then set boundaries. I think what's important about this, is, like I said, I know how much time and energy it takes to, apply for jobs and really invest time in here. But I think that what you need to do is just set aside dedicated time to do it and then be okay with stepping away from it. It's not something that you need to dedicate your full time and attention to. That would be impossible. And it would wreak havoc on your mental health, and we don't want that to happen. So set boundaries. And if you are in the house with multiple other people, let them know when you are working and when you need to be by yourself, because that's going to be really, really helpful. And don't be afraid to take breaks. When we're at home, it's very easy to get locked into our computers, locked into applying to a lot of different jobs and things like that. But I want you to invest in yourself so that when you do when it does come time to actually interview with someone, you feel really good. With that being said, COVID-19 is changing a lot about the way that we work, but we can all adapt, and I certainly plan to. So with that being said, that is my dog and pony for you today in terms of content. But I would love to answer any questions that you have, ongoing dialogue. And like I said, I would be more than happy to hop in and spend some time in our networking rooms. So thank you for having me. Thank you for paying attention. And what questions can I answer for you?
Great. Thanks, Taylor. Perfect combination of practical information and really motivating information. So I'm Kayala Peters. I'm the Vice President of Education and Workforce Development, and I'm just going to moderate a few minutes of Q&A for you in the moments that we have left, Taylor. We have a few questions. The first question is from Liz, and she's wondering about some of the job offers that she's getting that feel like scams, particularly Telegram.com. Wondered if you're familiar with that, and if there's anything that Indeed does to filter out some of these unauthentic offers.
So yeah, so Liz, that's a great question. So I've not heard of that site specifically, but what I would say is if you have the opportunity to, maybe if you know who the recruiter is for that role, try to find them on LinkedIn. I think I have the unique perspective of I worked at LinkedIn for 4 years prior to coming to Indeed, so I kind of have my bases covered. And even working at Indeed, I still use LinkedIn to professionally connect with people. I think that could help validate, who it is that you're talking to and the organization. At the end of the day, any sort of organization that is making you an offer, they're not going to ask for hypersensitive information like passwords or anything like that. So that could be kind of a red flag. But I would say that connection piece is going to be really important for you. And if you can get them on video, to kind of confirm that interaction or that offer, I think that would be great. No company is just going to just offer you without having a conversation with you. I think that that's important to know as well. Even though there is a sense of urgency behind hiring, no valid company is going to do that.
Good advice. And so we know that in a job search, networking has always been very important. In a remote environment, is networking still valid? And do you have any recommendations on how to do it in a remote environment?
So the short answer is yes. I mean, it's incredibly important to network and to stay connected. I think not just for our professional endeavors, but for our mental health. What I would recommend that you do, so a couple of things that you can do, right? In addition to having an online presence, join some community boards. So for example, Indeed Community is an ongoing chat thread that we have that we leverage to connect job seekers with industry experts on various topics. I think that that's something great that you can do. I think that making sure that you're joining webinars and a variety of different webinars to kind of polish your skills is really great. But also, if I could make this personal recommendation for everyone, put time on someone's calendar just to have a coffee, right? No agenda. Maybe with no set outcome or anything like that. Just this morning, my director, who sits in New York, I haven't seen her since February, and she's great. And so we just hopped on the line today and had coffee and caught up about work, and it kind of evolved into a work conversation, but it was really reviving for my sense of connectedness. So I would say that would be something that you could do for yourself as well.
Yeah, really, really good recommendations. I like that you started with talking about mindset, and we have a question about mindset, and just in terms of what do you think, out of all the practical advice that you gave, what do you think is most important to do and to focus on?
Yeah, so from a mindset, whoever asked this question, I appreciate it, and here's why. Because we are in a sincere age of adaptability right now, and a lot of it can be really uncomfortable. What I would say for you is, I'm going to go two routes with this. The first route that I'm going to say is have faith. Not everything is going to stay this way forever. We are not going to go into politics, right? But what I can tell you is that we are embarking upon a very important time. We had a very big announcement yesterday. So, do know that I genuinely do believe that we will navigate through this, and that, right, just like we've seen in history's time, right, we will turn this around and we will come back. So I think that is from human to human. That's the most important thing that I would reiterate. The second thing is right, just being open to the way things have changed. I hear so often, when will things go back to normal? Well, the way things were before the pandemic were also not working. So, when I think about things like racial injustice and things even outside of this conversation, right, that it shouldn't go back to the way that it was. So the more that you can open up your mind to adapt to technology, video interviewing, and things like that, instead of resisting it, I think that is just going to propel you that much more forward. And it's going to allow you to be more competitive, become more comfortable, and ultimately find something faster.
Yeah, well, we couldn't have asked for a better way to kick off this virtual job fair and just help all of us kind of create the right mindset and get in a space to be able to forge on. So I was going to ask you for some closing thoughts, but I feel like you have given us that in what you've said. But I will, Taylor, ask you if there is just so by coming today, obviously our job seekers have taken a really important first step. What is the one thing you recommend they do today?
The one thing that I would say that I want you to do today is get your resume uploaded to Indeed. Above all else. And the reason for that is because we have so many recruiters logging in to run those searches to see who is available. So as much as you are on any website searching for jobs, recruiters are on our websites searching for you. So the sooner that you can get that profile created on Indeed, take those assessments and get that resume uploaded, it's just going to create another avenue of communication and allow a recruiter to find you potentially before you even find the job. So I think that is the most critical thing that you could do today.
Great, and we may not always think about Indeed in that way. So what an important reminder. I want to thank you, Taylor, for joining us today, getting us started in our Hawaii is Hiring job fair. We're so delighted that you were able to join us all the way from Chicago.